Hello everyone, welcome back. In this tutorial, I will continue to work on that model. This time I will try to create a render setup as easy and simple as possible. If you haven't watched the first one, I will put the link in the description. So let's get started. Before starting, I want to make some explanation about what I am gonna do. So if you want to get realistic results, you need to imitate real life. For example, in this scene, you can see that one light on the left, one light on the right, and one on the top. So this is the basic setup for this kind of product photography and a camera, of course. So in this one, I will try to imitate that lighting setup. As I said, I want to imitate real life. So first thing I need to do, scale my object. For example, if I add a cube, let's get rid of that camera. You see that that cube has 2 meters in size. And if you compare our object, this radio is too big. So first thing, I will change that cube size. Let's make it 20 centimeters. Then I am going to select my objects group. But I need to change my center axis. First of all, let's switch to model mode, enable axis, change your coordinates to world, and set the all axis to 0. This is gonna center the axis of the group. You can turn off axis. Now we can scale our object. I think this is gonna be more reasonable and realistic. We can delete that cube. We don't need that anymore. Also, I'm gonna move my object. So it's gonna be right over that x-axis. Now let's create our studio, create a cube, make it editable, press C, or you can press here, switch to polygon mode, delete these sides, select that polygon, move it like that, or you can simply put its Y position to 0. Let's move that edge and that polygon. You can switch to points mode, select these points with rectangle selection, click here or press 0, then select these ones, press shift and select these ones. You can scale them, press T, or you can press here. I think this is gonna be enough. Let's put that cube into a subdivision surface, press Alt and click here, or create a subdivision surface first and put your object under it, make a child of it. So now we got that. First thing, we need to make some edges sharper. To do that, as you remember, we select loop cut and add these loop cuts, which is gonna make these edges sharper. Or we can add here and here. So let's add here. And also here. We can change these edges later, double click on them and move. Now let's create our first light. Before doing that, I will change my renderer to Arnold. Make sure that your resolution is full HD. Other than that, I don't need to do anything. This is the one of the beauty of Arnold. You don't have much settings. So I think my studio is too big. Let's move that these edges. Go to Arnold, light, quad light. Rotate it, press here or press R. After rotating, press shift. This is gonna snap the angle. Let's make it 90 degrees. Let's move it somewhere here. I will change my light size. Select light. Let's make it 1 100 centimeters in both width and height. And so let's position the light. Yes, something like that will be enough. I will duplicate that light, press Ctrl and drag your object. Rotate it 180 degrees. I will do that one more time. Press Ctrl and move your object. This is gonna be my top light. Let's make it my minus 90 degrees and put it right over our object. The light's positions don't have to be very precise. We can change them later, and we will do that. Or we can change our object's position. The lights are done. Now let's create a camera. Click here. Then click that icon. Now we are looking from our camera. Let's get a good angle. I'll change my focal length to something like 100. And we can position it right here. And also don't forget to enable your save frames so you can see what are you gonna render. Now I will go to Compositing, select camera, enable composition helpers, enable grids, and in the grid settings I will increase my cells to 2 so I can see the center of my scene. And it looks like we are very off. Let's move it here. Yes, something that's like that will be better. Now we can turn off helpers. I will switch to perspective view. To do that, just unclick here, turn off your camera. I will rename my lights. Let's rename that light left. Can copy that, Ctrl C, double click, Ctrl V this time. Light right, light top. Let's look at from our camera. Can now start to rendering. Click here, Arnold, IPR window. I will turn off my region. Also, I will slightly rotate my object. Just like that. After that, let's try to change our light settings. For example, let's go select bright lights, increase our exposure to 1. Let's do the same thing for the left one. 1. For the top one, I don't know if we need, but let's try that. I think that's too much. I will leave it at 0. After that point, I want to control my light intensity with my camera, just like in real life. Let's right click our camera, go to C422, A tags, basically Arnold tags, and select Arnold parameters. Now I can change my exposure. Let's make it 0.4 for now. That looks good. Now we can start to creating our materials. Let's create our first material. Go to create, Arnold, surface, standard surface. So standard surface basically means a material. So this is our material. First thing first, let's apply to our base. It's gonna be a wood material. Let's not forget to name that wood. We need to select our base, but if your subdivision surface is on, you can't select the objects individually. Like when I try to select, it wants to select all thing or just subdivision surface. So turn off subdivision surface, select your object, right click, say apply. Now we can turn on subdivision surface. I will double click on my material, open network editor. This is our material, which is linked to our Arnold BT. This is what is going to be rendered. For example, let's search for image nodes. I will put my root texture. I will also put that texture in the description. Say no. I link it to my Arnold beauty. Only this texture will be rendered. Let's see that in RPR window. You can see that we have only the image information, no specular, no other thing. I always do that to see if my texture seams are good. In this case, I think we got a really good result, so we don't have to change anything. Let's open our material one more time, double click, open network editor. I will put my RPR here. This time I will link my image to my material's base color. After that, I will link my material to Arnold Beauty, which is going to be rendered just like that. Now we get that specular information. In this tutorial, as I said, I will not go so deep, so I will not change much in that material, and I think the result is really good, believable. Now I will turn off material and create my second material. This one is for the speaker. Got to create Arnold surface, standard surface. Double click on that. I will rename that to speaker. I will make the color black, but not fully. Like we can leave 5%. For the roughness, let's make it 0.4. Disable subdivision surface. Select speaker. Right click on your material and hit apply. Let's enable subdivision surface. This time I will enable my render region. I will only focus on here, then hit render. Alright, that looks good, but I want to do other things. For example, for the inside, let's turn off render, RPR. Switch to perspective view to see my scene better. I will turn off visibility of these lights, or you can go to light settings and lower your preview intensity like that. Let's make it 0.2 each of them. I think this is a lot better. Now I want to select my speaker, switch to polygon mode, right click. Sorry, I will make a selection, so I need to go to select, or you can press V, move your mouse to select, then select loop selection. Select these ones. To make a multiple selection, just press Shift and continue selecting. So I want to apply a different material for these polygons. First thing, I will duplicate my speaker, press Ctrl and move your material. It's gonna make it duplicate. Let's double click on that. I will rename to speaker bump. Then right click and apply. This is gonna automatically create a selection tag. Also, my material will be only in these selections. But as you can see here, it made a selection, and automatically my materials selection is filled with that selection. Let's switch to camera one more time. Enable Subdivision Surface, enable IPR window. Let's keep it on the right. I will open my second material, speaker bump, open network editor. I will look for ramp RGB. This is similar to Cinema 4D's gradient map. So first thing, I will move that white to middle. Let's make it 50%. I will create another black one, double click, so make it black. After that, I will right click, say double nuts. One more time, let's make it one more time. Also, I will make my type to circular. So to see that texture gradient in my render, I need to link it to my Arnold beauty. So this is what we get. I will close that material for now. I'll go to speaker, select my speaker bump material. This time I will change my projection because UVW mapping is not enough for me. I need a flat projection. Can do that, just like that, change it to flat. Now all I need to do is scale this material. To do that, make sure that you selected your speaker. Click here, texture mode, then switch to scale, press T, then scale your map. But don't overdo that. Something like that will be enough. Now let's open our material one more time, double click, open network editor, select the ramp. It looks like I need to increase my nuts. To do that, right click on the very last color, say double nuts. One more time. Yeah, I think this is gonna be enough. Let's do it one more time. I think that's good, but it looks like I need to scale it. You can see the edges. Yes, that looks good. But I want that gradient map to only affect my normal or bump. It's really easy to do that. Just look for bump, select bump 2D, link that ramp to your bump map, then select your bump node and connect it to your materials, geometry, and normal. Also, let's not forget to link our material to our Arnold beauty. Just like that. I think it's too much. Let's select bump and decrease the height. For example, 0.1. We can play with the ramp. For example, let's say redistribute nuts. It's gonna give me a softer result. Can also lower the height. Yeah, 0.5 looks okay. We can still change our materials parameters, like we can make it more shiny or more rough. Let's keep it like that. Now let's create a material, create Arnold surface, standard surface, double click on that. I will rename that to metal. You can choose a material preset which has a metal one, but I prefer to do that by hand. To create a metal surface, you need to make the color black or very close to black. I need to change my EOR to something like 12. Well, you can lower that to until 6 or 4, but in this case I want to keep it 12. After that, let's turn off our subdivision surface. Select objects that you want to be metal, like these ones. Then right click on your material, hit apply. So let's enable render region and hit render. Alright, that looks good, but I want that metal to be more rough. So let's make it roughness to 0.5. Looks good. I want to add a small detail. Let's turn off this switch of our camera to perspective. I will turn off subdivision surface, select that object, switch to polygon mode. And I will select these two polygons. I will assign that plastic material for these polygons. Right click on the speaker and hit apply. Let's switch to our camera, IPR window. So that plastic material will be some kind of indicator that which way we are turning on this object. Let's create our last material. Create surface, standard surface. This is gonna be for the light indicator. Let's double click on that. Rename that light. This time I want some transmission information, which makes the material transparent, just like something like a glass. Let's increase that. And I'm gonna select this color. Let's select light, right click, enable IPR. Yeah, something like that looks good. Maybe we can lower the roughness, 0.1. So that metal looks too bright for me. Let's double click on that. I will lower my EOR to something like that. So I think this is enough for the materials. So if you are happy with your lights and materials, we can play with our camera. Like let's try 0.5. Now let's take a look at the render settings. Click here, go to Arnold. We have camera, which is anti-aliasing, diffuse, GI, specular for the glossiness. Transmission is for materials for like glass, SSS, and volume in undirect. We will not use that. You can set it to 0 or 2. It's not going to be important because if you don't have these materials, these are not be calculated. Let's say that our anti-aliasing 4, diffuse 3, specular to 3. So let's not forget to increase your light samples. Set it to 2, the other ones to 2. But don't overdo that because your blender will take a lot longer. Let's try that to see if we get any noise. Also, you can always see your render settings here for 33222. I got some noise here, but as I said, you can lower that noise with increasing these numbers. For now, I will leave them like that. For the last thing, let's click here for the pixel information. I think some parts of my image is too bright. Here is like, you can see it's very white. If you save that image as a 16-bit or 32-bit, it's not gonna be a problem to lower these highlights. But if you are gonna work with 8-bit, it is always good to lower in your render. In that case, I will lower my exposure to 0.4. Let's on the render here. Not much difference, but I will keep it that way. I almost forgot to add a material for our cube or the studio. Let's quickly do that. Arnold's texture, sorry, surface, Arnold's surface. In this one, I don't want any specular information. Let's set it to 0 and apply to that our cube. We can change our color. Let's make it 80%. If you want to save that image, you can make an image snapshot, which is going to send the image to the picture viewer. Then you can save it from here. I would not recommend that. Just go to your render settings, go to save, then select your format. Always try to save it in 16-bit. Then hit render, just like you would render in Cinema 4D. Alright guys, that was it. Thank you very much for watching. If you skipped some parts or if I skipped some parts, you can always ask in the comments. I always read them, each of them. Also, you can join our Discord group. So anyway, I'll see you in the next stories. Bye.